Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 3 English lesson on irregular past tense. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts, grade 3. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of irregular past tense. All right. So our chapter is irregular past tense. Our subject is English Language Arts, grade 3. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on today under the chapter of irregular past tense, it is to identify irregular past tense, 1, as well as we're going to focus on 1 and we're going to focus on 2. So today we're only going to focus on identifying the irregular past tense. And as you can see, there is quite a few lessons under the irregular past tense. So that is what we're going to do over a period of a couple of days, right? So it's going to be more than one lesson on specific days that we're going to be focusing on irregular past tense. All right. All right. So when it comes to irregular past tense, right? When we think about our tenses or we talk about our tenses, we always talk about present tense, past tense, or future tense, right? That is whenever we think of tenses. And then we have regular tenses and we have irregular tenses. So, like in today's chapter, we're doing irregular past tenses, right? Which means that we're going to be focusing on the past tense, which tells us that something has happened in the past. And things that has happened in the past, right? it usually ends in ed. But since our chapter is irregular past tense, right? Irregular past tense, it will tell us that, um, like, firstly, we would say most of our tenses are in the regular past tense, right? So most of our verbs, we can say that it is regular in the past tense. And if the verb is regular, right, then it means that you need to follow a rule, like maybe adding ed or adding a d. That is if it is in the past tense. But now, if our rule is irregular in the past tense, and then it means that you don't follow any rules. So if the rule in the regular past tense is to add ed or add d to show the different tenses, then in the irregular past tense, we do not, for example, follow any rules. We don't add ed, we don't just add a d. You're just going to have to remember the past tense form of the verb. So we cannot say you need to add ed, add d in order to show the specific tense. Because with irregular past tense, you're just going to have to remember the form of that verb. And if you look at examples, right, it says Louis did his homework. So there we have did, right? So which means that did is the irregular past tense form of do. So which means that I do something now. In the past tense, I did something. All right. And if we look at a few examples, right, of words that are irregular, right, or it shows irregular verbs or irregular past tense. All right, and irregular past tense, or let's say if we look at a few examples or words of irregular past tense, if we look at words like feed, feed, like now I feed you, or I feed the learners, I feed the baby. What is the past tense of feed? And if we were to look at the irregular past tense of feed, then in the past we can say the kids are fed. I feed the kids. The kids are fed. Catch. Think of the word break. I'm gonna write down a few words. And we're going to look at the past tense of those words. Make, fed is correct. Draw, tell, we have year, we have sleep. Okay, let's stop there. Get. And if we were to look at these words, right, and try and find the irregular past tense, what would it be? Catch. Yes, and catch, the irregular past tense of catch is I caught them. Break. Break. What is break? And the past tense of break is I broke something. Make. I make, food. Yesterday I made food. So made. Yes, made is correct. Draw, and then we have the past tense is drew. Tell, and the past tense is told. Yeah, and the past tense is I heard that. Sleep, slept is the correct word. So slept is the correct word. And then get and got. So that is but a few examples of irregular past tense. So well done. All of those words are correct. So these are irregular past tense, and we said these irregular past tense, right? It doesn't have a rule that they follow. We can't say add ed, we cannot say add d, because if you look at how the words is changed, right? Not one of these words is where we can say, okay, follow a rule of adding whatever, right? The words basically has changed, and that is irregular tenses, or we can say irregular past tenses because it's done in the past tense. It's like the past tense verb. All right. So once again, these are a few examples of irregular past tense. And once again, we see with irregular past tense, we do not follow any rules. Instead, you must just remember the past tense form of the verb. And we made a few examples of those words like feed. In the past, it's fed. Catch. In the past, it's caught. To break something. In the past, you broke something. Make and made. Draw. In the past, I drew. Tell now. I told you. Hear. I hear you, but yesterday I heard you. Sleep, and the past is sleep. And to get, and in the past I got. So these are our irregular past tense. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca, and we're going to go over the first lesson, which is to identify the irregular past tense. All right. So we see that we're going to identify the irregular past tense. And here we only have like a few examples, right? Or activities. We're going to underline the irregular past tense, and then we're going on to the test, right? It says which sentence is in the past tense. It says my family rode the train. Look at the sentence. My family rode the train. We need to identify the past tense within that sentence. And if we were to identify irregular past tense, irregular past tense is rode, because ride is our present tense, but in the past it is rode. Yes, well done. Rode is correct. Then, which sentence is in the past tense? It says, I felt happy this morning. I felt happy this morning. All right, it says, I felt happy this morning. What is our irregular past tense? I felt happy this morning. We need to identify the irregular past tense verb within that sentence. And if we were to identify our irregular past tense, it is I felt happy this morning. And if we were to identify our irregular past tense, then felt is our correct irregular past tense. And if we look at what the present tense was, it was feel. And feel is our present tense, and in the past, we would say it is felt. So felt is our correct irregular past tense. And then if we look at the next one, right? All right. And if we look at the next one, it says rain fell during the storm. So rain fell during the storm. All right. It says rain fell during the storm. Yes. And if we were to identify an irregular past tense, we would say it's fell because we also have fell. Fell is to fall. So fell is to fall. Because remember, if we would then rather say rain fall during the storm, right? But now, if we want to put it in the in the past tense, we would say rain fell. So fall and fell. All right. So now we're going to our test, right? Remember, we said that when it comes to our irregular past tense, we do not follow any rules. You're just going to have to remember the rules or how things change or how the words change, right? But we cannot say there's any rules where we add ed or d in order to show the irregular past tense. All right, so now we're going to our test. All right, so now we're going to our test, right? Where we're going to identify the irregular past tense and we're going to say which sentence is in the past tense. It says, I keep water by my bed, or I kept water by my bed. We need to say which one is correct. Option one or option two. Is it I keep water by my bed or I kept water by my bed? All right. Yes. And if we were to choose our correct irregular past tense, then we would say I kept water by my bed. So well done. Kept is correct. So kept is in the past tense. The next one says, Dad and I ride bicycles. Or do we say, Dad and I rode bicycles? So we can say, Dad and I ride bicycle. Or Dad and I rode bicycles. Which one is correct? option one or option two? So we can say, is it ride bicycles or rode bicycles? And if we were to choose the correct one, yes, then well done. We can say Dad and I rode bicycle because rode is the past tense of ride. The next one says, I know the way to school, or I knew the way to school, or I can say I known the way to school. We need to choose the correct irregular past tense. So is it option one, I know, option two, I knew, or option three, I known the way to school? And if we were to choose the correct option, we would say I knew. I knew because knew is like know the way to school. So well done. Knew is correct. The last one. It says, hello, Miss Crosby said. Or do we say, hello, Miss Crosby says? Which one is correct? Hello, Miss Crosby said, option one, or hello, Miss Crosby says, option two. All right, and if we choose the correct option, we would say option one, which is hello, Miss Crosby said, is our irregular past tense verb. All right, and we're going to the next one. Also, to identify the irregular past tense, right? And here it says, if we go to our test, because it's basically almost the same. So now we're going to the test, right? Where we are going to identify the irregular past tense. But now this is like almost like a part two. So which sentence is in the past tense? It says mom speaks to my teacher. Or do we say mom spoke to my teacher? So we will need to choose the irregular past tense. Do we say mom speaks to my teacher or do we say mom spoke to my teacher? Option one or option two, mom speak to my teacher or spoke to my teacher. And if we were to choose the correct option, we would say mom spoke to my teacher. It's like in the past, we would say spoke, but in the present, we say speaks. And yes, option two, spoke is correct. So well done. It says Haley draws a kangaroo. Or do we say Haley drew a kangaroo? So Haley draws a kangaroo. Or do we say Haley drew a kangaroo? Option one or option two? So we say Haley draws a kangaroo. And in past, we can say Haley drew a kangaroo. And we would say option two is correct. It says the girl lost her place. All right, so we need to say which sentences is in the past tense, and then we can say is it the girl lost a place or the girl loses her place? Option one or option two? And if we were to choose the past tense, we would say the girl lost. The girl lost her place. Yes, and lost is correct. Franklin held the little boy. Or do we say Franklin holds the little boy? So do we say Franklin held the little boy? Or do we say Franklin holds the little boy? All right. So we can say that Franklin held the little boy, or do we say Franklin holds the little boy? All right. And now, if we must say which one is in the past tense, then we can say Franklin held, because held is the past tense of hold. He held our little boy. Yes, and held is correct. Well done. The next one says we will win, Baba. Or we can say we have won, Baba. All right. And if we were to choose the irregular past tense, do we say we will win, Baba, or we have won? And if we choose the correct one, we will say we have won. And the second option is correct. Well done. All right. And if we say which is in the past tense, do we say the team started at noon, or do we say the team will start at noon? All right. And if we were to choose the correct past tense, that is irregular, right? Then we can say the team started at noon or the team will start at noon. So we will go with option one, where it's the team started at noon. All right, yes, that is correct. Well done. The next one says Gabby wore a green shirt, or do we say Gabby wears a green shirt? We need to choose the correct option. And if we choose the correct irregular past tense, we will go with option one. Yes, because now instead of saying she wears a green shirt, in the past she wore a green shirt. Yes. All right, so now we're going to form and use the irregular past tense, right? We're going to form and use the irregular past tense, keeping in mind that we said that most of the verbs are irregular in the past tense. And if it's irregular in the past tense, then it means that we do not follow any rule. Instead, you're just going to have to remember the past tense form of the verb. And if we look at a few examples, and then we say, Mia left the party early. So Mia left the party early, right? Left is an irregular past tense, but if we look at what the present tense is of that word left, right? Left is in the past, and the present tense of that word left, yes, is to leave. So leave, I'm going to leave now, goodbye. But in the past tense, I left, right? So I'm going to leave, but now in the past tense, we leave, like left, right? And the same year with Jacob lost his key, right? Lost is in the past tense, but if we look at the present tense, then I lose something. I lose my key, I lose my pen, I lose my pencil, but yesterday or whenever I lost the key. I lost my pen, right? So lost is the irregular past tense of lose, right? All right. So now we're going to the test where we are going to form and use irregular past tense. We are going to complete the sentence with the verb in the past tense. It says they. Do we say they built with a T, or do we say they build a railroad across the country? So they built or they build a railroad across the country. We need to find the irregular past tense. All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, then yes, we will say that they built, and built is correct. Option one is correct. They built a railroad across the country. So well done. All right, let's do the last one. It says given Gavin, do we say slept or Gavin sleep through the loud storm? Do we say Gavin slept or Gavin sleep through the loud storm? All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, and then we will say Gavin, yes, option one, slept through the loud storm. So well done. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson, grade threes on irregular past tense. We said that verbs that are irregular, they don't follow any rules. You're just gonna have to remember the form of that verb, right? And how it changes from the present to the past tense. So well done, grade threes, and thank you very much for joining the class. Thank you very much for interacting. And I really hope that you're going to have a good day further. So, till next time, have a good day further. Goodbye.